It's Christmas in July! Or at the very least, it's a Christmas Carol trailer reaction in July. This week, a trailer dropped for Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol, the newest adaptation of Charles Dickens' classic novel by director Ty West and starring Johnny Depp. Now, the footage in the trailer is pretty good, although a bit funnier than I expected. There is one thing in the trailer that's kind of bothering me, though. Let me see if you can figure it out.
Mr. Scrooge.
The story you don't know? Are they kidding me? A Christmas Carol? Everybody knows A Christmas Carol. Toddlers know A Christmas Carol. Penguins in Antarctica know A Christmas Carol. When they found the aliens in Area 51, they had a copy of Alastair Sim's A Christmas Carol in their ship's database. It might be the single most adapted story in human history. If you do a ranking of famous Christmas stories, number 1 is about that kid that was born in a barn, number 2 is A Christmas Carol, number 3, a distant third, Die Hard. Now, there have been different versions of A Christmas Carol in the past, versions that take liberties with the Dickens original. Richard Donner's Scrooged, for example, is one of my favorites. This version, in case you've never seen it, modernizes the story a bit. Instead of taking place in Dickensian England, it's set in the 1980s. Bill Murray is not a moneylender, but he's a television executive producing a new version of A Christmas Carol. And it even has a slightly happier ending in that Bill Murray and Karen Allen get together in the end, whereas in most versions of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge is redeemed, but he still doesn't get the girl. The thing about this new version, though, is I haven't been able to find anything to suggest that this is supposed to be some sort of different take on the story. It seems, from everything I can tell, to be a fairly straightforward adaptation. Now, some early screenings are reporting that Johnny Depp is kind of making Scrooge sort of a living cartoon, kind of like he did with Jack Sparrow, which is all well and good, but that doesn't say anything about changing the story. It just feels like a really bad way to market the movie. It got even worse when I saw the poster for the movie revealing the tagline, "Before he was Scrooge, he was Ebenezer." There have been plenty of crappy taglines in movie history. This might be one of the worst. Before he was Scrooge, he was Ebenezer. What does that even mean? First of all, it sounds like a tagline for a prequel. Before he was Iron Man, he was Tony. Before she was the Sea Witch, she was Ursula. Before he was Boss Baby, he was Zygote. It's just dumb. First of all, again, there's nothing to indicate that this movie is supposed to be a prequel, and even if it was, that would be outrageously stupid. To make a prequel to The Christmas Carol? The whole Ghost of Christmas Past scene is the prequel. And before he was Scrooge, he was Ebenezer? That's his given name. It's not a name that he chose later. If anything, he was probably Scrooge first, because I would assume that his parents knew what his last name was going to be before Mama Scrooge popped him out, picked him up, and said, "Looks like an Ebenezer to me." Now, I don't want you to think I'm not going to watch this movie. Of course I am. I love A Christmas Carol. I watch every version of it I can. If you look at my IMDb profile, there are 47 separate versions of A Christmas Carol that I have logged. That's not even counting TV episodes, graphic novels, comic strips, radio dramas, all the other version of A Christmas Carol that exists besides just movies. Plus, I like Ty West's work. Admittedly, up until now, most of his work has been in the horror genre, like in the X trilogy. But that certainly doesn't mean that he can't do fantasy or drama or even comedy, if that's what this movie is. No, I think what we're looking at here is a case of bad marketing. I could be wrong about this, but it looks to me as though they cherry-picked all the funniest parts of the movie and crammed them into a trailer that's not necessarily indicative of the tone the movie's going to have. It also feels like the guy who wrote the tagline and the guy who cut the trailer have never met each other. Or Ty West. Or Johnny Depp. And probably not even Charles Dickens. I talk a lot about how much it sucks that movie executives are the ones who ultimately decide which movies get made, because they always make those decisions based on financial considerations instead of creative ones. The same, I think, has to be said for marketing departments. We can all think of great movies that were trashed because of a terrible marketing campaign. John Carter. Yeah, it's important that a trailer is appealing, but it's equally important that the trailer is an accurate representation of what the audience is going to see when they watch the movie. So, Mr. Ty West, Mr. Jonathan Depp, I have every intention of seeing your movie, and I don't blame either one of you if the trailer is in fact a terrible representation of it. It's the good folks at Paramount who don't know what they're doing, not you.
God bless us, everyone.
Haven't we done that already?
I don't know.